In a good cause, there are no failures. This quote originates from the science fiction story In a Good Cause, written by Isaac Asimov. In it, two characters, Richard Altmeyer and Jeffrey Stock, are arguing. Jeffrey had just recently achieved success, while Altmeyer had failed to do so. But while Altmeyer was the loser, Jeffrey notes that history would not look kindly upon him, for despite victory having been handed over to Jeffrey and not Altmeyer, Jeffrey had been a crueler man, and his methods immoral. With a hint of regret, Jeffrey notes that despite his victory, it would be Altmeyer who would be looked upon fondly by future generations. The quote itself tends to say that even if a person fails or makes mistakes, people tend not to look at those, but rather the cause they are supporting. Because if someone is fighting for you, what does it matter as to how they do it? They agree with you, they are helping you, and they are fighting for you. So you, or anyone else who agrees with you, looks past the mistakes of that person. Our founding fathers were by no means perfect. They were human, as all of us are. But in our history books, and in our own views of them, we look upon them as nothing short of heroes. They founded our nation. Washington led the Great Revolution. Jefferson penned the Declaration. Benjamin Franklin helped write the Constitution. Though, as we all know, they are still plenty human. When Thomas Jefferson called the Founding Fathers a council of demigods, he was likely being sarcastic. Jefferson himself owned slaves. John Hancock was a smuggler, and Washington was often drunk. But because of the immense service they did us all, we tend to overlook that. Nowadays, this issue often comes up in our politics. When we look at our politicians, both sides vilify the other and completely glance over their own faults, only continuing to do as they were before, never changing anything. Often, when I see someone argue about politics, it is always to vilify the other side, whether left or right. I never see admission of fault about their own ideology. This is because those people agree with themselves, and if someone else also agrees with them, then how bad can they be? Very few people try to fix their own flaws in their ideology, or admit that perhaps some of their politicians are not as good at characters as they assume, whether they are from the left or the right. This narrow sort of viewpoint of the people who agree with themselves is not just in politics. It is also found in sports. Oftentimes, much anger is directed at the referee, who is just doing his job and usually is doing it well. But because he made some calls that are not always agreeable with you, you are more likely to view them with suspicion, even if he is truly a neutral force. This is the opposite of automatically being more forgiving of those who agree with you, but the same principle applies. When there are those who help us and agree with us, we are more likely to overlook their many faults.